Well, howdy, partners. It's OTJ spoiler season, and we are kicking it off strong with some of these. But before we go into that, I am now out of creature types to do videos on. So if you have a suggestion, leave it down in the comments below, and we'll be kicking that right back up off. We'll be kicking that off back next week on your regular scheduled Thursdays. But without any further ado, let's go on ahead and get into the spoilers. Starting off with some of the creatures we're seeing. Some of these we know, some of these we don't know, some of these we've seen, some of these we hadn't seen in a while. But we're going to start off with Marchesa, Dealer of Death for Grixis, which is blue, red, black. She is a 3/4 legendary creature human rogue, so she can commit the crimes. And if you read in the text box, this is my first time looking. This is going to be you're going to be seeing them just like I am. Whenever you commit a crime, you may pay one generic. If you do, look at the top two cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This could be a really good zombie commander. I'm going to probably say that a lot. But there's a lot of utility in a creature like this, especially if you can keep it on the battlefield and keep committing crimes. Definitely good for a spellslinger deck or a burn deck of some sort if you're willing to go that far with Grixis. So let's go on and look at Riku of Many Paths. We haven't seen Riku in a while. But for a green, a blue, and a red, it's a 3/3 legendary creature human Wizard. Whenever you cast a modal spell, which is one of those double-faced cards, or no, it's one of those cards with multiple spells that you can use for them. Choose up to X, where X is the number of times you chose a mode for that spell. So if it says choose 3, you do 3. That's actually pretty cool. You can exile the top card of your library, play it till it's deterred, put a counter on Riku against trample, or create a 1/1 blue bird creature token. That's different. This is definitely leaning into old Riku, where you wanted to cast multiple spells. But now he's leaning more into modal spells, which is definitely the way of the future. That if you play Magic for a while, the teamer, the Izzet charms and stuff like that, those are really good. The charms, the Archmage charm and stuff like that, those are really good. So I can see this going. It might be a niche spellslinger deck, but I can see this going pretty well. And if I'm going to be honest, I think this would be pretty fun. Vraska the Silencer. That's, well, what do you know? It's a Gorgon in snakeskin boots. Well, I'll be damned. For one generic and a black and a green, it's a 3/3 legendary creature, Gorgon Assassin. She is no longer a planeswalker. She lost her spark, I guess, after her purification from the Phyrexians. Still has Death Touch though. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, so whenever you commit a crime, you may pay one generic. But that also plays into effect if your opponent's like sacrificing creatures. You can do that, and if you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under your control. So definitely, if you really wanted to keep your opponent's creatures, this kind of reminds me of Grave Betrayal or what is his name? Holy mess. Limdul. If you remember the old Limdul from a long time ago, if you could pay a certain amount of mana and you can bring a creature back under your control from the graveyard. But it's a treasure artifact, but sack this, make a mana, and it loses all other card types. Also, you just pay one to make a treasure. So you can consistently just keep. Do they exile? When it dies, you may pay one. If you do, return that card. No, it just becomes a treasure. So your opponents can't use it. That's pretty neat. Moving on to the Gitrog, and now I'm kind of wondering where Thalia is, because last set we seen the Gitrog. He had a very fun, loving rider, I guess you want to call it. Gitrog, the Ravenous Ride. So for 3 generic, a black and a green, it's a 6/5. Frog Horror Mount. It has trample and haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that saddled it this turn. If you do draw X cards, then put up to X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Whoa, that's pretty wild. Where X is he sacrifices creature's power. So that's pretty wild. If you throw like a Titan on there just to shuffle, oh, whew. Or if you're in a green black X landfall deck, you could really do some good with this, or most prominently is red. So if you throw this in a landfall deck with red in it, you could probably find a way to play a bunch of lands from the graveyard or from your hand. You draw a bunch of lands. Magda the Horde Master. Huh. One and a red. It's a 2/2 Dwarf Berserker. Whenever you commit a crime, create a tap treasure token. Kind of goes in line with her past iterations. Sack 3 treasures. Create a 4/4 red Scorpion Dragon with creature token with flying and haste. Wow, that's pretty cool. Somebody call Dockside. We got a commander for him. Crom Violent Cacophony. Oh, this made me sad when I seen him reprinted. I really hate it that they reprinted him because he was good the way he was. But for 2 generic, a blue and a red, it's a 2/3 zombie horror with flying. Whenever you cast your second spell, each turn put a counter on Crom Violent Cacophony and draw a card. So if you can build Izzet Spellslinger any other way, you can get this off the ground pretty quick. And I love the flavor text for this. It says, concern for his apprentice's welfare, Ludwig sent his greatest creation to make sure Droff got into the right kind of trouble. Yep, that's pretty positive. Vial Smasher, Gleeful Grenadier for a black and a red. Just a black and a red. They're really discounting these older legendary creatures. It's a 3/2 Goblin Mercenary. Whenever another outlaw enters the battlefield under your control, Vial Smasher deals 1 damage to target opponent. And those are outlaws are assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks. Which is just like a generic gathering of, the shadier creature types. Sotoru the Infiltrator. And I love this art. I love the little commies coming out and fighting. Oh, it's pretty cool. For a black and a blue, it's a 2/3 Human Ninja Rogue, so it is an outlaw. It has a menace, and whenever whenever Satoru the Infiltrator or one or more other non-token creatures enter the battlefield under your control. If none of those were cast or mana was spent to cast them, draw a card. Oh, that's pretty cool. Huh. So, like ninjutsu, kind of, sort of. Because, you didn't cast it. So. But yeah, this is actually kind of plays into, the free casting type deal if you wanted to do that. An artifact that comes to mind is the amulet that taps to throw a creature onto the battlefield. That's actually pretty cool too. Lazav, Familiar Stranger. For 1, a blue and a black, it's a 1/4 shapeshifter. When you commit a crime, put a counter on Lazav. Then you may exile a card from a graveyard. That's very important. If a creature card was exiled this way, you may have Lazav become a copy of that card until end of turn. This ability triggers only once each turn. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a grave recursion nullifier, kind of, sort of, in a way. Rakdos the Muscle. He's a demon mercenary. That's actually pretty cool. For 2 generic and 2 black and a red, it's a 6/5 flying and trample. He's got the flample. When you sacrifice another creature, exile cards equal to its mana value from the top of target player's library. So not yours, somebody else's. Until your next end step, you may play those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. So if you really just want to get rid of someone else's, top couple cards, they tutor. There you go. And he also has an ability, sacrifice another creature. He gains indestructible until end of turn, tap it, and only activate once each turn. If he's already tapped, he's just going to be tapped. It's still pretty cool, though. But yeah, I could see this one as a aristocrats type build with demons and imps and devils. But you wouldn't get any benefit out of that unless you had actual non-token creatures, cuz or they were copies of creatures. They have to be a copy of the card, pretty much. And it's our girl Gisa the Hellraiser. Hope I don't get demonetized for that. Not like I'm making any money right now, but still. For 3 generic and 2 black, she is a 4/4 now. Legendary creature human warlock. And she has now apparently been to Strixhaven and gotten ward for 2 generic and 2 life. Huh. Skeletons and zombies you control get +1/+1 and have menace. That is beautiful. I love it. Whenever you commit a crime, create 2 tapped 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature token. This ability only triggers once each turn. Targeting opponents, anything they control, and or cards in their graveyards is a crime. So I could see this one being a pretty unique build, especially if you can, start just pinging stuff, targeting stuff. I mean, if you could find a way to be like, hey, plunk of damage on that creature. Oh, I committed a crime. Give me my zombies. Which is skeletons and zombies. It makes me believe that we're probably going to end up seeing some zombies and skeletons in this set. So hold on to your hats, folks. The graveyard's starting to get full. It's about time to go on ahead and wrangle us up some zomboys for the posse. And then we have the good old favorite Bruce Tar Roving Rancher. This is probably where he belongs. For 2 generic, a white and a red, it's a 4/3 human warrior. Oxen you control have double strike, because we all know oxen are so renowned for their power and their cheap mana cost and their flavor and their abilities. So you got to give them double strike. Whenever Bruce Tarl enters the battlefield or attacks, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land card, create an oxen. Otherwise, you may cast it until the end of your next turn. So that's a little bit of a card advantage. It's impulse advantage, kind of, sort of. And now we're going to talk about some of the front-facing commanders for the commander decks for Thunder Junction. First off, we have Olivia Opulent Outlaw for 1 generic, a red, a white, and a black. She is a 3/3 vampire assassin. She is an outlaw. Flying and lifelink. Whenever one or more outlaws you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Just one. Oh. Nope, doesn't matter. So you can attack. If you're playing this in Commander, you can target 4 players and you'll get 4 treasures. Pretty decent. Then you can tap 3, sacrifice 2 treasures, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Pretty good. Makes your outlaws a little bit stronger. Stella Lee wild card for 1 generic, a blue and a red. It's a 2/4 human rogue. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile the top card of your library until your next turn. You may play that card. So it can be a land, you can't play it. Then you can tap her, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for that copy. Activated only if you cast 3 or more spells this turn. So this is kind of in line with Ripley Vance in a way. Captain Ripley Vance. My bad. Got to put some respect on that name. Yuma Proud Protector. This kind of makes me feel like he is somebody from like Ikoria, the way he's like a bonder would take care of another creature. But for 5 generic, ooh, that's pretty steep. A red, a green, and a white. He is a 6/6 human ranger. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each land card in your graveyard. When he enters the battlefield or attacks, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, draw a card. Whenever a desert card, and this is the kicker, is put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 4/2 plant warrior creature token with reach. That's pretty wild. Oh, and it ties it in because he's holding a plant baby. That's pretty neat. He is the proud protector of the plant people. That's a lot of peas. And then we have the one that I seen that I was really anxious to see what happened to him. We have Gonti, Canny Acquisitioner. I feel like that should be Acquisitioner. So maybe. I don't know. I'm from the South. For two generic, a black, a green, and a blue, it's a 5/5 Aetherborn Rogue. Spells you cast but don't own cost one less to cast. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, look at the top card of that player's library, then exile it face down. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. So regular first Gonti goes in this deck automatically because it allows you to throw cards. Heck, even some of the what is it called? Like stuff that exiles the top of the library of everybody, and you can cast that. There's a bunch of like chaos based spells, but this would be really good if you could find a way to like slide it in there with him. That could be pretty cool. And I love this art. He's just like reaching for the gold. Oh, that's just great. And I want to. He's not a returning creature that we know to be just great, but this is somebody that I seen that kind of just he ain't right. So this is Honest Rutstein. For one generic, a black and a green. He's a 3/2. Whenever he enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Creature spells you cast cost one less to cast, which is pretty powerful. It's kind of like the ooze, but you choose creature. But you can return when he ETBs, you can return creatures from your graveyard to your hand. Now he is a human warlock. Now this is if you've seen this face before, there's a reason why I wanted to bring it up for the people that haven't. Rutstein, this is not his first appearance in Magic that I know of. This is more like his second. And his first appearance was actually not too long ago in Crimson Vow. This is old Rutstein, so that makes me beg the question: is Rutstein actually from here? Or is he, did he just wind up on Thunder Junction later? Or was he there before? Because, I mean, I'm going to be honest, he looks a lot younger in the previous photo. But, I'm going to leave that up to y'all to decide. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think the lore behind Mr. Rutstein is. But the show must go on. So we're going to go on ahead and move on to the random creatures that I kind of seen and liked. So the first one's going to be Bristly Bill Spine Sower. He's pretty cool. He's a 2-drop, 1 in a green, 2/2 plant druid, and he has the landfall ability. Why is this so cool to me? Well, guess what? My Phylath deck has been looking for some greenery to grow, and he has now set his sights on Thunder Junction because we are now getting some plant druids. Heck yeah. But whenever a land enters the battlefield, you put a counter on target creature. That sounds like a whole lot like Phylath. For 3 and 2 green, which is not bad in green, which is pretty much just like turn 5, you're doing this twice. You double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So if they have 1, they now have 2. If they have 2, they now have 4. And so on and so on. This is pretty much a Hydra for plants. And I'm all for it. I'm ready to blossom into the greatest, strongest little sunflower you ever seen. I'll be the thickest corn stalk. I'll be the sturdiest oak. I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna be the best that we've seen for plants in a long time. And I'm not. Nobody cares. Nobody cares but me. So I'm gonna keep it going, and we're gonna talk about the Hard Bristle Bandit, the Stickler Bandit, if you must. For 1 generic and a green, and I love these low cost. Just speaks to my soul. He's a 1/1, and you can tap to add mana of any color. Whenever you commit a crime, untap him. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's actually pretty cool. I like it a lot. He's actually got 4 arms. Wonder if the last one had 4 arms. It's too late to worry about it. But this one right here, this next one, the Aloe Alchemist, is probably by far going to be my favorite and the only one that I'm going to rag on the most. Because for 1 generic and a green, it's a 3/2 plant warlock. He has trample. When he becomes plotted, target creature gets +3/+2 and gains trample to end a turn. The plot doesn't matter because this is just a euphemism in my mind. This is the greatest thing I've seen in a very long time, because as soon as I seen this card, I was like, dang, Aloe Alchemist. That bro right there, a Wild West KY Conjurer. The silicone sorcerer. Man, this guy ain't nothing but the slippery seer, the nighttime neck romancer. If you know what I'm talking about, go on ahead and please don't unfollow, please don't unsubscribe. This is horrible, I know. But yeah, let's go on ahead and let's get to the next one before I get demonetized, before I get a strike. The holy cow. We have now treffled into the area in which ox have become angels. But for 2 generic and a white, it's a 2/2 with flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and you scry 2. It's pretty cool. And I like the flavor text on this one too. After it passed by, the rancher swore she saw hope shining in the pig's eyes. It's kind of funny. Kind of reminds me of Charlotte's Web. And then we're getting introduced to a new creature type, armadillos. And from somebody from the south, I can deal with that. I'm ready for opossums next. I'm sure there might be one in here somewhere. Spinewoods Armadillo. For 4 generic and 2 green, it's a 7/7 with reach and ward 3. You can tap 1 in a green and discard it and search your library for a basic land card or desert. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. You gain 3 life. So you could use this as a reach creature with ward that's huge, or you could use that as a land searcher. Which, I'm assuming it's going to be limited. This would probably be really good. And now we're going to go on ahead and move into the spells. I seen this and I really wanted to talk about it. This is Bovine Intervention. For 1 and a white, it's an instant, and you can destroy target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 2/2 white ox creature token. White is now approaching the point which it's getting on par with black in removal. When it comes to just your general, but black still can't hit artifacts as well unless you use like reprocess or something, or whatever it's called. Phyrexian Tribute, that's what it's called. Look that up. That's a card. But yep, it's white starting to do everything now. It's starting to hit some more stuff. It's almost like green is getting like some better stuff. White's really starting to move on though. And this one is the one that really, really, really piqued my interest. This is Double Down. For 3 generic and a blue, this is an enchantment. Whenever you cast an outlaw spell, you copy that spell. And let me tell you right now, you better pick this up now. Because with the Assassin's Creed set coming out, there's going to be tons of people clamoring to get this card. So if you pull it, hold it. Wait until the Assassin's Creed set hits and then let it go, because this is going to be some money right here. And then finally, we're going to talk about a couple lands. We're going to talk about the old cycle from Kaladesh that we had, the Concealed Courtyard land, the Blooming Marsh, and stuff like that. They're getting a reprint in this set. And we're also getting a new set of tap duels with desert typings, which is pretty wild. But these deserts don't just come in like regular tap lands. No, they are the deserts. These are going to ping an opponent whenever they come in. So if you're looking to do a little bit of damage on a basic mana base, or a what is the word? A cheaper mana base, on a budget mana base, there we go. this would probably be what you want to go to. But that is going to be it for today, everybody. I really appreciate everybody that watches the videos, that likes and comments. And like I said, don't take me don't take me too seriously. I like to crack jokes a lot. I like, if I can see something funny, I'm gonna make fun of it. That's just how I am. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Outlaws of Thunder Junction so far. I'm actually kind of getting excited for it now, because there's some things I haven't seen and some stuff that I've seen now that I kind of really I want to pick it up for a couple decks. But that is going to be it for today. I can't tell you guys how much I could say it over and over again, and it still won't even break the water on how much I appreciate you guys. But that's going to be it, and I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.